Hello and welcome to New Junction. Now it seems an absolute age since I did the last update. I think it was January. There's been so much going on, jobs here and there. I've never quite got to a stage where I thought I can bring you an update video here. So it's finally nice to get to a point where I can down tools, collect my thoughts and just update everyone. So first things first, as you can see there, some new additions on the layout. That's a Freightliner Class 57 with the sound. As you'll see in a minute, my trusty old HST never fails. And a bargain of the century, a Railtrack MPV has joined the fleet at New Junction. That's currently on the outside line with the 57 just following around in a nice loop. As you'll see though, the only problem with it doesn't quite trigger my laser sensor, so it gets through the lights. That'll have to change. Now obviously you've seen my baseboards go in, and you've probably seen them in the odd video have now gone blue, as you can see me filming it here. I didn't think it was worth a video on its own because it quite literally is just painting them blue, but I thought I should mention it because I'll no doubt get inundated with your questions. The paint itself is the B&Q Colours own brand paint. It's the walls and ceilings matte sky blue, and as you can see it goes on quite well. The reason I'm not using a background on this side is because I wanted to push myself on the station side and sort of try and do everything a bit more DIY, a bit more custom, and try and avoid buying a product out of a box where possible. So I thought, what better than to do my own background? Good place to start. Now, having New Junction Central finally finished in terms of a platform, and now all the tracks running again, it doesn't half make for a very busy layout. As you can see, I've got my new Class 800 running. There's a 158 coming into the station very slowly. My HST chasing the 800. I've also got a Class 57 running around with my MPV behind it. A lot of that is thanks to the Gauge Master Prodigy I'm trialling at the moment. I was kindly given that to do a video on, but it doesn't half make for a busy station, as you can see. I think I've got 6 trains running currently, which is very different to how it used to be. As I've mentioned previously in my Class 800 review video, which is just passing the screen now, that's my one. I was kindly loaned this Great Western one to do a review of. Unfortunately, this has had its fair share of bugs along the way and has not been without a few faults. I did say on the 800 review video, I think the model itself is absolutely fantastic. I think I've just been unlucky because this one was swapped by Hornby, and this particular one works no problem at all, doesn't have any of the faults the previous one has. But it's not running today because it's going to feature in its own video, so watch out for that one where I'll go over all the points that or I should say, it'll go over all the faults I had with it. If you've seen my station update video, I'm sure you'll have seen that I've actually added an extra platform to what was planned. This just helps provide a bit more running option, a bit more storage option. And of course it sort of makes it look like the bigger station that it's intended to look like. Eventually there will be an arch above these two and the central 2 lines. so that'll look quite good. Also, as a matter of running option, as you can see, my Heritage Line DMU's in the station. That will of course take services to the Heritage Line, and as we follow it round, as it slowly leaves the station, matches the GWR quite well. As we slowly follow that round, we'll see that going into the Heritage Line station. And just like that, we've got ourselves a link to the main station. Now, if I just move the DMU out the way, it brings me to a new visitor on the layout. As you can see, this is a warship called Roebuck, a Class 43. That'll be pulling some rail tours at New Junction sooner rather than later. But as you can see, it's nicely nestled at the Heritage Line for now. Now, I've turned the rest of the engines off just while I go through the visitors to New Junction. This is the Freightliner Class 57, which is sound fitted, as you can hear. Makes for a jolly good runner. It's Olivia's sound fitted, and it ain't half loud, I tell you. Also joining the fleet is this MPV. This is the rail track version. This was purchased from a good friend of ours, Nathan at Pippin Junction. So thank you very much, Nathan. He's gone over to the American Engage for his stuff. But no, this will make a nice addition, and it fits in well with all our permanent way workers and things like that. As you can probably tell from the videos in between the last update, all the major work has been this station, and obviously the foundation is now done and wrapped, and for those who missed it, it was wrapped in the scale scenery paper sort of print-offs you can get. I think it's scalemodelScenery.co.uk, which looks really good, to be fair. It's a better job than I could do painting, so I'm really chuffed to bits with it. The next phase for me is probably going to be lighting on the platforms, although you're probably going to get something else, because as you can imagine, if it wasn't for the under closer inspection videos, you wouldn't have got many, because this station, it was driving me crazy. It's taken a good 3 months, but I like to keep the content regular for you all. This angle is probably a better one to show you eventually what I'm aiming for. I would like, as I've said, sort of traditional arches from these two platforms, and then from the middle one to this one, to make it look like a proper terminal station. And of course, even just with the platforms and being full of trains, you can't see really the trains going around the corner. So it's already starting to look how I wanted it, and eventually I don't think you'll see the corner in the background. Looking down the other side of the layout, to be honest, I'm really not sure what to put here. I'd like a bit of a town scene towards the back, but I'm not sure what to do with the front or where the petrol station is. That might end up as a depot, although I didn't want something so predictable. I wanted to sort of push myself with a different diorama. As you know, I like less is more. But I mean, a depot may fit perfectly. But I've really got no clue what to do. I've sort of been so focused with this station, I'm a bit lost. So any suggestions would be very helpful. while I'm thinking about it, I'd like to thank everyone who responded to my Network YouTube map video. I think pretty much over the weekend we had an extra 200, 300 members of the Facebook group, and probably half that number added to the map. So my map, which you saw on the video, which is this one, is now quite obsolete, and the new one's on its way to me, and it's grown substantially. But that's amazing, exactly why we did it, to be fair, especially the group and whatnot, even if you're not on the map, just to bring everyone in the hobby closer together and in aid to share our layouts, which is fantastic. So going forward, I think my next more imminent jobs on this station definitely going to be signalling, all the detailing around the track before ballasting, because I'd love to get the ballasting out of the way, particularly before it gets too hot in the summer, because it just starts getting sweltering in this loft, and I'd like to have that done and dry before we get there. Something else that's coming soon is a comparison on the Under Closer Inspection series against the Gagemaster Prodigy and the Hornby Select, as good beginner controllers. And to be honest, although on the face of it might seem obvious an answer, I was quite shocked at some of the pros and cons of both. So that'll make for an interesting video, should you like that kind of thing. The scenic side of the layout has remained rather untouched, I'm sad to say. As you are well aware, all my efforts have been on the station side. But I do have a list of long as my arm to continue on this side and add to it. And I really need to get those workers working. So once again, thank you for watching my update. As ever, all your views and comments, likes and subscriptions are well received, and I thank you very much all for them. It does help, and I mean, some of the comments I get really are handy, and at the point of filming you don't think of a lot of things until someone mentions it in the comments and it's glaringly obvious to you. But no, I am glad to get the foundation of this station done. It was dragging its heels a bit. I think in hindsight, if the plywood wasn't scrap, I definitely wouldn't do this again so quickly. Maybe it's too raw to ask me that question, actually, or for me to answer that question. But no, the biggest issue I had with them was getting the heights right, and sort of planing down the plywood. But now it's done. I'm very glad, and if anything happens to them, I'm not doing them again. So as ever, thank you for watching. The next video will be a running session, I believe, next week, and you'll get to see all this running close up and a bit more professionally done than this video. But as ever, thank you very much, guys. Take care now.